Well, welcome to NEC's new play development workshop, final presentation. Tonight, we chronicle the process of advancement, innovation, and creativity on the path to presentation of The Root Woman by Michael Bradford. Over the past year, our talented group of creators, Playwright-Michael Bradford, Dramaturg-John Martin Greene, Songwriter-Briana Maia, musical composer Daryl Rebiero, and director Marcus Naylor have assembled to polish, define, and crystallize this new work. Featured in tonight's presentation are Briana Maia as Wanda, Justin Marcel McManus as Cleveland, and Stephanie Berry as Janie. Please sit back and enjoy the making of The Root Woman.
Looking for the root woman?
Late.
I'm grown. Keep the kind of hours I want to keep.
Oh, but when I become a man, I put away childish things.
I wouldn't be here if I ain't had the business.
The door is open.
You ain't worried? No locking the door? No, a two-bit sugar cane worker liable to come in here and slit your throat from ear to ear.
Every fool in the bottom better hope I live forever or die a natural death, including you, Mr. Temple.
Fine with me. Live forever if you can fix it that way.
What do you want?
You know what I came here for.
World is full of fools, and a fool is full of surprises.
I'm having some problems with my digestion.
I would have guessed you would have had much bigger problems. If that's all, might be a home remedy better suited to what ails you.
Anybody in the bottom know the rent is at least what you collect in Lila Shack Flicker House? Anybody born in the bread in the bottom know exactly what you come from Miss Janie for?
Anybody in the bottom know the rent is the least of what you collect at Lila Shacklefoot's house. Ain't you married to old Dr. Meek's daughter?
You know who I'm married to.
Cece's mama, Lila Shacklefoot, is a good friend of mine.
And I'm married to your granddaughter. It seemed like you would appreciate my situation better than most.
Never been in your kind of situation.
Oh, really? Let me see now. Wanda been in Boston going on 3 years now. I know she walked past this door every Sunday morning, big old bundle of flowers. I says, Wanda, why you go out take all them flowers to your mama grave every Sunday morning? She says she making up for lost time. All them years she was up in Boston, her mama in the ground, in the bottom.
Watch yourself.
I know you seen her many times she done passed by your door, but evidently you ain't said nothing to your own grandchild. Now I wonder why that is.
Get out my house.
Look, I come here because I can't keep nothing down. I come here for some peace in my house.
Send somebody else to Little Shacklefoot's to collect the rent. You'll be just fine.
That ain't enough. All right, Cece won't put it down. She following me in the street, bringing me food, talking about we made a river together.
What's in the sack?
What's in the, damn, gumbo.
Shrimp.
I don't know, woman. I ain't come here to feed you.
Give it here. Good thing you ain't ate this. Ain't no telling what kind of mess Lila put in this. You and Cecilia Shacklefoot. Ain't that something?
Maybe I ought to run by Lila's when you finish with that. Fetch you some old gumbo.
Oh, I wouldn't go back over there if I was you. Lila Shacklefoot liable to give you a piece of something you don't want. You know yellow women is usually pretty quick with a knife. With all the heartache and shit you done brought into that house, I'm surprised you ain't bleeding to death in a cane field right now. Open your mouth.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Wider. Cecilia must got some awful small feet.
You gonna help me with this or what?
Why should I? You cut the tree above ground, you ain't done nothing. Roots still reaching for the center of the earth, waiting for a new season, and it always come again, like a weed. I don't bother with weeds. Reason my yard look the way it do. Look how big that shrimp is.
It seemed like you wouldn't want to make the same mistake you did with your granddaughter.
Where Lila get shrimp this size this time of year?
Same as you made with your daughter.
My daughter, Mary, is my business. If I wanted Wanda to know who I am, I would have told her myself the minute she come back to the bottom.
All I'm saying is your daughter is lying in the boneyard. Can't speak to your own grandchild, and here you is about to have a great grandchild come into this world.
A child? You lying.
Me and Wanda got a nice little place on Garvey Street. Big yard, plenty of room for a baby.
I know you since you come into the world, and you ain't never been nothing but a lie and a juke. What it matter to me if you fall off the side of the world? Last thing that child ever needed was your trifling ass.
And that may be so. But what make matters worse is Wanda talking about going back to Boston with the baby. Now, whether you gonna say something or not, I know you stand in front of that door every time she walk by here. I know you find your way to the market every time she want to pick something up. Now, I cannot imagine what it must have been like losing Mary to the grave and Wanda to Boston all in the same day. Just
hold on now, boy. Ooh, you better hold on.
And that's the end of the scene.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited to see what comes next. So I'm really I'm interested in how this whole idea got started. Like, what was the impetus for this? Can I ask that?
Well, I would say the impetus to write it just came out of a very short story in my family, where we had a cousin who went down to New Orleans and then came back with them, and my great grandmother thought was a little dangerous. Didn't want her cooking in the kitchen or bringing their laundry in, from outside. I don't know why I remembered that story so cleanly, but years might have been the second play I wrote almost 15, 20 years ago. It drove the idea for this particular piece, and the play has evolved greatly since then, and even since Stephanie and John Martin first got a hold of it and decided to do a little work with it.
And when was that? Let me ask.
That was back in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
You wasn't nothing but a child.
I was just a wee smudging, just an idea. But I really love that, because our works deserve and need that type of time and development opportunity. So this is really wonderful, and it's very exciting. It's juicy. Oh, it's juicy.
I certainly appreciate that. We never have talked about it, John Martin and Stephanie and I, but it was Blackberry Productions, of course, that did the staged reading, and I'm kind of curious myself about what John and Stephanie saw in the play, even then.
Well, chief among the things that first attracted me to your work, Michael, and which has haunted me ever since. And I use haunting here in the sense of a force for good, are along with hauntingly beautiful and beautiful poetry and lyricism of your writing, your language, the actual hauntings that transpire throughout much of your canon, reflecting the history of savage brutality to which African Americans have been subjected on the way to becoming African Americans. Yeah. It's the combination, I think, of profound shame and guilt for what has been done to us, along with the tactic to divert us from what continues to be done to us, that has created the American imperative for being ahistorical, something with which you will have no truck, you have no part, you'll have no part. So all that's to say that there is, that American history, that is littered with the ghosts of African American casualties of something like a 500-year war that's been waged against us. And while you never wallow in or play victim in this war in your work, neither do you let your characters or your audiences off the hook for the responsibility to cultivate deeper self-awareness that might impel us to deeper humanity and sense of responsibility for ourselves and each other. And it's that juxtaposition of exquisite beauty and horror that you balance so extraordinarily that makes your work so seductive. And The Root Woman is all about seduction. So back in the early 2000s, during the early stages of development on The Root Woman, with the exception of the character Lucius, who is haunted by the memory of a lynching, while the ghosts in the piece weren't literal, where a ghost is sometimes an unseen force. The unseen force in the story was about the seduction of life for people who lived without it, the seduction of fulfillment in a system that denied it. The seduction of a place where dreams are starved, growth is stunted, one was dared to dream, and where people struggled to achieve everything they wanted while gaining nothing they needed. Yeah. But even in those early days, I remember you having the sense that there should be music. Yeah. I remember
we had the bass player.
Right. We talked about a trio, but we had a single instrument that we had the bass player, and a song, one song. It was you don't know what love is until you've learned the meaning of the blues, until you've loved a love that then you lose. You don't know what love is. A haunting refrain that we interspersed threads of over the course of the action. But
Yes.
yeah, and all
applause.
Yeah. Well, the Blackberry workshop that we did, we were blessed to have theater legends Novella Nelson, Keith Randolph Wright, our own Stephanie Berry, and who played the role of Wanda, but who has since grown into something of a force herself, who's fit to embody Miss Janie. But yeah, so I don't even remember what your question was, but I know that all the characters wanted something outside of themselves. Yeah. And and the structure, I thought it was something of an allegory. Yeah.
So is this a piece that you would think might become a musical, or will remain like a play with music as a significant part?
Oh, it has become a musical. It has
Okay.
become a musical, and one that I think I dare say is going to be phantasmagorically beautiful.
I'm excited about that idea. I love a musical.
Hello. We need them. We're due.
And do you feel like it is
find that playwright you're talking?
Because of the elevated nature that brought in the necessity for the music? Because I guess that is the whole reason for a musical, correct? Like the words are just not enough.
The heightened language and yeah, an emotional tenor of the piece, yes, does call for music.
Yeah.
And between them,
indeed,
yeah, Briana and Marcus. No, Briana and Darryl have wrought some gorgeous. Darryl have Rebiero have wrought some gorgeous music. Yeah.
Indeed. Took a while to get here, though. C. Kelly, took a while to get here. That was 2004, 5. John Martin, we did that work, and I think the play has had more readings than I can remember. Now, it just took many people saying, I don't know why there's more music in here.
Now the song Soiled, is that can you share something about that? And Mercy Mercy, maybe?
Well, I think we have Briana here, and I would love for Briana to step in and talk a little bit about, where that came from.
Yeah. Hey everybody. My name is Briana. I'm the songwriter for the production. So Soiled is I feel like it's the first big song of the play, or it really changes the flow of the play. It's Miss Janie's, the Root Woman's, first song. And I have to say, my first introduction to the Root Woman was actually in 2013. I don't remember if you remember this, Michael, but I did a reading of the play as well. So a long time ago. And
lost in all in one day, but
hold on now, boy. Slow it down, boy. For you put your own foot in your mouth, you better cool down.
Sorry about that. I was just looking for it.
Here, boy. Smell of fear, boy. And you're seeking some peace, a new sense of relief, and you need it from me. So for you coming here with all that stuff, remember, you came to me.
What you doing over there messing with Lala's poor child? Cecilia hates a man got needs. That's all it was. Only thing promised when you get here is death. Someone old as you ought to know that.
I know you, boy, since the day you were born. Never could sit still, never would be quiet. Heard you rode for thrills, never satisfied. But someone as old as you ought to know, you'll get what you plant down in the soil. And if it all rots, boy, if it don't grow, no fault but your own. Road woman works some miracles, but she don't cure the soiled. what she want? I give her a baby. I don't care how wrong I've been. I got a right to be here with my child. Tell me you don't want to see that child want to get here. I've seen my share of miracles, and Wanda deserves it. Boy, heaven knows. And although I don't like you more, still a piece of you inside I know. Take this here, boy, down to Trimmer Square, boy. Bring me exactly what's on this list. When you leave Tremaine, to not go down Canal Street or anywhere else near running water before you get back to here. Now you get out my house and do like I tell you. I'll come back here tomorrow. It's red time. I gotta go. You should have been satisfied with that low-rate pawn shop and the 33 raggedy planks of wood you've been calling houses, instead of making a river in that poor child's back. Now here you was trying to play the Bible with pocket change, spit the pain of past crimes at me, and you got the nerve to tell me what you ain't got time for? Somebody ordered you ought to know. You'll get what you plan down in the soul. And if it don't rap, boy, if it don't go, no thought but your road, a woman makes some miracles, but she don't cure the soil. No, I don't cure the soil. I don't cure the soil. No, I can't cure the.
That was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Like that was a glorious, glorious accident, and I'm so grateful for it. What was the musical writing process like? Like, how long did it take to come up with this piece? Because this seems like, I like to, not to forgive a pun, but it seems like it landed flat in the soil, right where it's supposed to be, like in this story. So what was that? How long did that take to find the sync for this music to fit the story? And what was that journey like? And I guess that would go to Briana and John Martin, Michael.
Darryl.
Darryl.
So Darryl's my
Yeah, we'll drop it in Briana's lap.
Yeah. I have to say it was really a lot of pressure to write music for this piece because one, a lot of people may not know, Michael Bradford was my professor in college. So, you know, you always want your professors to be proud of you. One, two, the piece already felt musical without the music. Michael's words and the way he writes, it is very lyrical. And I had to be very smart about where I chose to actually make it song. This was one of the first ones I wrote because this one felt the most potent. The scene had a lot to work with. The root woman she's so clear to me. Like, she's such a big character. So I was like, I'm gonna start with the big and then I'll work my way down. But he gave me some references. Cassandra Wilson, I think, was the main one you gave me, right, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just worked our way from that. I had the script. I sat with it for probably 6 months before we really had anything that made sense. And I would send him ideas here and there and be like, what do you think? And if he gave me the green light, I knew I could move forward and kind of piece it together a little bit more. And then Darryl, the composer, he would come and add the musical component. I just had to get the melody there.
Right. Well, that is a beaut. That's quite you hit the nail right on the head with that one. Whatever it took, I love your process. and I love the result as well. I'm excited to hear more. Is there something else queued up maybe that we could listen to? Is that Mercy Mercy? Could that be another accident, or should we?
Well, there's the there's the music, but do we want to get in the additional scene and then perhaps fold in the music?
Sure. Because yeah, I mean, I'm quite intoxicated by this piece so far. So yeah, totally. I would like to then, so I guess what kind of life is this? And that's what I believe we are looking into. This would be a scene between Cleveland and Wanda. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm interested in their dynamic and the language that they speak in. So we should go ahead and get started with this scene and listen to some more music from the Root Woman right after this.
And just to be clear, we're going to read through the whole scene. We're going to read through the lyrics as well, and then we'll play the music after, just so everyone's on the same page.
Thank you so much for that.
Of course. Left the sweet potato and sausage on the table for you.
Appreciate it.
It's late.
It's rent time, Wanda. You know, I got a lot of
Houses. Yes, I know. 33. You make it to all 33?
no, I did not get to all of them.
It must be difficult with so many of them.
I should see about that sweet potato before it get cold.
Maybe you should sell some. 1 or 2.
Look, after what I went through to get these houses,
What we went through.
you know, I appreciate the money your daddy left us. Okay, but somebody got to do something with it.
Well, it's cold, the food. I would have heated it, but I don't know when you're coming home, and you're probably not hungry anyway. So.
It seemed like you forget how hard I worked for us to have this kind of life.
What kind of life? Tell me, what kind of life? I keep searching for the signs you've been hiding inside. Tell me why I can't find you in the light. Every ounce of me is trying to find you, but why?
I told you everything, Wanda. Ain't nothing else for me to tell. Standing knee deep in the same garden we made that baby in. Ain't nothing else for us to do but to...
Remember that gray slip you liked? Or the times we went out till the sun broke the night? Mercy River in July? Or that single pearl you bought on the very first night? When did we learn to fly? And how did we get so high that we're falling apart? We're no longer aligned, no longer under the same sun. So what kind of life have we come to? Tell me, what have I done to you? Who else do you run to? What kind of life have we come to?
That baby breathing inside of you. Can't even count all the years we've been trying. Can't you see that I'm trying to? I'm a man. I messed up, but I will make it right. Been buried inside you. And I swear, I know all of you won't quit the fight. Wanda, we made the earth move. And now you want to go. Why would you go? Ooh. Look at the life we come to. Baby, I know what I done to you. That's no reason to run, boo. Just look at the life we come to. Ooh.
Convicts mark time, Cleveland.
It ain't the gumbo or the sweet potatoes. Maybe it got something to do with all this talk about leaving Boston and...
There's so many ways to be here, Cleveland. To be seen. And I have tried them all. Your turn.
End of scene.
That gray slip you liked. What a time we went out till the sun broke the night. Mercy River in July. Or the Singapore you bought on the very first night. When we learned to fly. And how did we get so high that we're falling apart? We're no longer aligned, no longer under the same sun. So what kind of life have we come to? Tell me, what have I done to you? Who else do you run to? What kind of life have you come to? But baby, breathing inside you. Can't even count all the years we've been trying. Can you say that I'm trying to? I'm a man, I messed up, but I will make it right. Buried inside your, and I swear I know you will get the fight. Wonder we made the earth move. And now you wanna go, now you wanna go. Ooh, look at the life that we come to. Baby, I know what I've done to you. There's no reason to run, boy. Just look at the life that we come to, yeah.
And yet another beautiful song. And I'm such a sucker for a sad story. So drama, I love it. This I'm moved. I'm deeply moved. This is the making of the Root Woman, and this has been just really, really exciting to hear, exciting to feel, exciting to see the work that has been done already, and looking forward to the work that will be done on this. This goes into full production in 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the schedule. You know how this goes.
I'll say from my mouth to God's ears.
Yes.
And full yes. I want everyone
Appreciate that, C. Kelly.
Yes, to be encouraged and to be excited about this, and to ask about it, and to support it, and put your dollars where your mouth and your hearts are, and get this completed. It is beautiful. The Root Woman by Michael Bradford, Dramaturg-John Martin Greene, Songwriter-Briana Maia, musical composer Daryl Rebiero, and director Marcus Naylor. The Negro Ensemble Company is always looking to bring new works and stretch that narrative. We have such a rich history, and I love when people go and farm new works. And so thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much for sharing this and for allowing me to be a part. Stephanie Barry, Justin Marcel McManus, and Briana Maia, thank you so much for your work as well. It was thrilling, and I thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I'm C. Kelly Wright. Not wrong.
Before you go, can you talk a little bit about that scene and the music? Can you guys, you have some time to chat?
I would love to hear it.
Yeah. I don't see John Martin on my screen, but I think I just don't have all of my screens up. But I just want to say that the writing of the scene, took a little bit of time, and it's really about these two people who are doing their best to be in love and struggling, and Cleveland trying to struggle through his past so he can get to the place where he can actually love. But we had such a wonderful conversation, and when we all sat down together to try to weave the music, into the piece, and John Martin, did a phenomenal dramaturgy, and of course the music is fantastic. If I could just listen to Briana sing the entire play, I think I would be perfectly happy. But I mean, I'd love to hear, both from Briana and John Martin, just about the process of kind of putting it all together. It was really dynamic, and I felt as a playwright that I should step back a little bit, because there was such energy and dynamism in the space.
Writing this song specifically, I was most interested in making sure we showed or felt the love between Wanda and Cleveland. I wanted there to be hope. I know, like, we see them missing each other a lot of the play. I really wanted us to see, like, no, like, that love is really there. Like, it's really there. So that was what was most interesting to me. And I used, actually, for this song, I used a monologue that Michael had in the play. And I broke it down and tried to find ways, again, his text is so lyrical, tried to find ways to just sing it. And I just started singing it out loud until it made sense. But yeah, that was the songwriting process. John Martin, I don't know if you wanted to take it away with some of your expertise.
Well, no, you nailed it. And what you just described about your process reflects the extent to which the music is so organic. The music grows out of the text, out of the act, and out of the action, in this moment in the piece. What they are both questing after. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. Just on a directorial note, my position, obviously, it evolves in a different kind of way because of this earlier process. But now that we're at this particular stage, I'm in the dog days of analysis, and a kind of analysis that will it'll help me get through the thickets of the mood, the atmosphere, and all this beauty that we're describing, to be sure that that we get to the heart of the problem, and we get to the heart of the story, and with the central story be able to sustain and move the audience along the way. The music speaks for itself, the writing speaks for itself, and that is, but at the same time, the investigation that I need to do is to make sure that I don't just rest on that, but get beneath the iceberg, if you will, to give it a kind of life and support this message from the spiritual interior, is what I was writing when I was making notes. It's a little twisted, a little confused, a little bit of light, a little bit of dark, past and present, and past and present of the ancestors and of the culture crying out, if you will. And it's the cry for new life that snuffs out the hold that is on everybody in this play, and the hold that has all the characters swirling in, that they're swirling in, if you will. So it's it continues to evolve, and it's collaborative, but at the same time, it's that next step of investigation, of knowing, of analysis, of knowing what we have is truly amazing. And then also being willing to get into some of the harder questions to make sure that the central story maintains itself and stands on strong legs along the way.
Indeed.
Well,
see, Kelly, if I could just jump in, I love that word evolution, because it seemed to me that this play, you know, we worked on it so long ago, and then we bring this creative team together, and every time we got together, John had some new dramaturgy, Briana had some new ideas and thoughts, and then we bring the music to lay over top, and something new happens, right? Something that I didn't understand about the play, or something that I was just maybe touched on the surface about the play. We had these wonderful, much deeper conversations just about the lives of these characters, and it's amazing to me that a play can continue to evolve in this way. But you know, you bring a creative team together like this, I feel, and I think, I know good things happen, right? And things just get bigger. And as a playwright, I have been lucky to always work with really good people. I have been very lucky and fortunate that way. Grace has been visited upon me in that vein, and the play always gets bigger. There's always more than I thought I knew. So, you know, it's just appreciating being a part of the team, you know, and part of the process, and watching this thing grow, you know, evolve. I'll use Marcus's word, evolve.
yes. Well, I'm sorry for that. I'm interested, Briana, I know you said that you were initially a part of the reading of this. Were you already on the team, or is that how you came to be a part of the creative team?
I was actually still a student in college when we read through this. It happened, I ended up, I wasn't in Connecticut, and then I moved back to Connecticut, and I was working with Michael, and he just walked into my office one day and was like, remember that play, Root Woman? I think I want to get some music in it. And it started like so casual, and he was like, we'll talk. And I was like, yeah, cool. And I'm thinking like, yeah, we're gonna do like 1 or 2 songs. And then as we were creating, it just became like, oh no, wait, I think this is going to be not a play with music, which is what we initially were talking about. It's going to be a full-blown musical piece, or whatever we want to call it. I don't even know. Are we calling it a musical, Michael?
A little bit more expensive, but it's
a little bit.
I mean, it's poetic. I mean, it's poetic in its size, and in its feeling, and in its production, and its and that power of poetry. It's very expansive, and the opportunities are amazing to not only be inventive, but to embrace all of the nuance that a poetic realm brings, without a doubt.
This piece definitely, it spoke to someone whose voice I actually haven't heard from in a long time, and didn't necessarily even get her due. Her name is Imani Harrington, from out of the West Coast, San Francisco, and she's done a lot of her main work, literary work, is rooted in the soil of Louisiana, and the magic and the music that life in the bottom kind of brings. And so it was just really wonderful to hear that, you know, to hear that jumbo, and that jumbo mix in the music, in the sounds of the voices, even it just really is exciting. And I mean, you know, I never musical I didn't like for many years, and then that changed. So, but I'm like, I can see this.
Yes. See, Kelly, and that's the one thing that jumped off the page, was the sense of place is so palpable and so alive, and it's it's amazing that you can smell the gumbo, yes, and feel the soil, yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Kelly,
And
I got a note that we probably have time for one more
oh,
piece.
let me shut up. Let's go straight to it because I'm loving this music.
You guys have a whole 12
So I'm told the next piece coming up is Mercy. I tell you what, John Martin put us to work when we talked about this piece. He really put us to work here. We had to, really get into the depths of why it really works where it works. So I just want to say much love to John Martin on this, and of course Briana and the beautiful music.
You got this, Bree?
She
Oh, Lord.
ticking, pressing the pine. Water pouring, spilled over the saddle. She fine. Don't know why. Still taste her, still smell the rain. Again and again and again, forbidden memory I savor. Mercy, mercy me. Woman so cruel, she haunt my dreams. She stick to me like honey. Quiet eyes see straight through me, no matter how I keep running. A memory like water, so heavy, deep, is drenching me. Again and again and again, feeling I can't shake. Mercy, mercy me. I'm on my knees. Oh, I'm begging you, baby, don't get me in trouble. Mercy, mercy, release me. Oh, begging you, baby, girl, let me go. Mercy, mercy, too heavy to face it, too big to embrace, yeah. I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go. Too big and face it, please, baby, chase it. And mercy on me, mercy, mercy on me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Y'all get a hand clap from home. It's the highest honor in my house. If you get a hand clap from home, you have done it. Absolutely.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
How wonderful. How nice. How nice.
Justin, can I ask you a quick question if we have one more minute? So what gravitated you to this role? I have my own opinions, but
I wish I could say a higher power gravitated me toward this, but Marcus and I, we go way back. We worked on plays together before, and he had an instinct and he reached out to me, and I mean, obviously I said yes. Without even having to read the piece, I just said yes right away, and just reading it now and being in the piece, it's just even more beautiful. And so I'm like sitting here thinking like, how do I work my way into this now? I'm like, this is this is kind of good. This is kind of good. So, listen, I'm based in New York City. I'm an actor. You know, just give me a call if y'all need somebody. It's beautiful work, though. It's beautiful work. Briana is talented on all means. Love the songs, love the writing. Yeah, so you know, give me a call.
Well, I had that pegged wrong and right. I felt like you read it and were like, folks, this is me right here. Not that it's you. I'm not saying that it's you.
It's me now. I'm
saying, but I'm saying
that
you felt something just spoke to you. But yeah, that would be a go choice for me, guys. I'm just saying. I don't have a nickel. I don't have a nickel in this time, Justin. I don't have a nickel, Briana. You know, my vote is for you guys. So yes. Because you brought a lot to just a camera and you know, we're not together, but you guys really felt like you gave it your insides to, you know, to offer up even for a Zoom. And that's always thrilling to watch somebody reveal themselves and then, you know, lie about it later.
I appreciate that. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
man.
Indeed.
There's a chemistry.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, the chemistry is there.
I appreciate
Here, here.
Fantastic. You know, if I could jump in, see, Kelly, I'm curious with John Martin, because we didn't really talk a lot about this from the reading back in 2004, you know, to what we just worked on, you know, how the play has evolved for him as well. I see him all the time, but I never asked that question. I'm kind of curious about that.
Since 2004, what has happened in terms of the arc of the piece, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end now. The journey feels complete. And I don't know if I would risk being a spoiler. I don't want to risk being a spoiler because I want people to see this. But I also think the protagonist has changed, and it's clear to me who the protagonist is, and that is refreshing, surprising, and powerful. Yeah. Can I say who I think the protagonist is? I'm gonna say, no, it's Wanda. That's right. She the protagonist. That's right. She's the character. It's clear now, as it was not all those years ago, who is disrupting the order of things, who is questing after change, and for her efforts manages to bring change about. Yeah, and that for me is what the protagonist does. The protagonist is the character who's bucking the status quo.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So can I ask who you would say the protagonist was prior?
Asking questions.
As I recall, it was either Cleveland or possibly even Lucius. Bless his heart, bless his soul, that baby. Yeah.
You know, this is the year of the Superwoman, so I love it being Wanda.
I think that Michael did that. He said, "Okay, this is the year of the woman. Let's no."
I wish I was that smart. I wish I was that. Just seemed like the right thing to do in our conversations, and you know, the music that Briana wrote is so powerful. right? You know, where Wanda is concerned, whether it's Wanda and Janie, Janie, Wanda. I mean, the music it just punctures my soul. And so it's just hard not for the women not to be the focus.
Yeah, well, it's amazing because Cassandra Wilson is definitely a queen conjurer of song.
Indeed.
So it just makes
Indeed.
sense, and that hauntingness is there. I'm always marveling at how people do communicate that. Like, you know, as a performer and an actor, I know how to then take that and then interpret that, but how do you create that from the blank page is always just amazed me. So
You
kudos.
got it.
Yeah, and I
Go ahead, Papa.
No, I was just going to say that Briana's right. We had dinner with her and Daryl, and we talked about, you know, the earthiness of the piece and the kind of, you know, the bottom and outside of New Orleans, and it's hot, and, you know, everybody's sweating, and, you know, I heard Cassandra Wilson, and I don't know how she made it reminiscent of Cassandra, but it, you know, it's all hers. I mean, it's, you know, there's some pieces of that, and every once in a while you say, oh, that sounded like it might have been said. No, that's Briana. That's Briana.
That's right. That's right.
To create all this music, it's amazing. Yeah.
And I remember you saying that night too, when we first talked about it, that you didn't, we were like, when does this take place? And you were like, it doesn't have a time. And I remember as a songwriter, I was so stressed out by that. I was like, how do you do it? But it was a great challenge because it did create its own sound, because I had to pull from like some things that were old and you know, that felt good, but we also had to find things that were new to make this world that is not old or new, it just is. So I was grateful for that challenge, and I think that's why a lot of the music it doesn't fit anywhere, and I'm grateful for that.
Like, your answers are so dope, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, I didn't even think to ask the question, because I didn't think that there was as much like thought put into that, just that it somehow came up sounding quite timeless and yet new. So that's the thing that I'm like, I'm hearing no particular time signature, and yet it still feels new. It feels like young people will gravitate to this music as if it's theirs, and people who have been to the bottom or have some relationship to Zydeco or Calypso even will feel like it's theirs. And so and I've been listening. I actually live in a studio. There's been a recording session going on during some of this, and I marvel sometimes at how some people don't know how to, they only really know one time. It keeps coming through in their music. And I was lost in that. And I'm like, it's just, she still made it fresh, but it still feels so timeless. So that's good that you took time and thought, and because it paid off. So it wasn't even a fluke. It's just,
You know what the music was giving me? It was giving me if Beyonce was singing in the Bayou in the 1920s, man. That's what it was giving me.
I love it. I love it.
yes. Yeah.
That's what it was giving me. I'm like, okay, I hear Beyonce, but this ain't new Beyonce. It's like if Beyonce was back in the 20s singing down in the Bayou somewhere. It was dope.
But see, that's the power of conjuration. You know, Michael is a conjurer, and he saw Maya. He said, oh, she a conjurer. She a conjure woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I love it.
Wow, wow. Fantastic.
Yes. Was there anything that wasn't said about this? I don't know. I'm excited, so I
think we're there. We're just ready for the next step.
Yes, you are ready for the next step. And I've workshopped.
You know, it's scary to say that, but it feels that way.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of pieces. I'd say this one is ready for the next step. You can take my word for it.
I look forward to more, so y'all better get on it.
I certainly thank everybody and thank my actors for coming in, and you know, we put in a little work, but it was you guys did the work, so certainly appreciate you all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Justin, thank you so much. And
Thank
Briana,
you.
well, you know I love you, so.
Well, thank you all for coming, and thanks all who participated. On behalf of Negro Ensemble Company, we say thank you. And on behalf of the Root Woman, Michael Bradford, we say stay tuned for more. Yes, I'm C. Kelly Wright, and I say thank you and good night. God bless. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Keep the art alive.
Good night, everybody. Peace.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Live stream has stopped. You guys can say whatever you need to say, but thank you.
The live stream is
All
stopped.
right.